Chapter 1. A Royal Hunt. Gaywick Forest, Perthshire, Scotland. 3 middle-aged men dressed in green camouflage overalls and hiking boots tread heavily through dense forest. The morning air is cool and fresh with a distinct pine aroma. The wood is a typical Scottish forest with a variety of different trees. Oak trees, silver birch, majestic Scots pine, ash, sycamore, Douglas fir, the ancient yew tree, horse chestnut trees and many more. The morning chorus, courtesy of singing thrushes and crested tits, and the tapping from relentless woodpeckers, and the peculiar beat clicking from lecking capercaillies, creates an extraordinary ambience. 2 of the men carry on their shoulders a carved wooden pole, and tied to that pole, hanging from its feet and swinging lifelessly, is the dead body of a stag. The third man, leading the other 2, carries 2 hunting rifles, one over each shoulder. They are in high spirits after a satisfying hunt, laughing and jeering.
They can camp outside of the old hag's palace for all the good it will do them,
sneers the man in front, the eldest of the trio, a regal-looking man whose pink and bloated demeanour reveals his obvious overindulgence living the high life. His platinum-coloured side parting clings to the sweat on his brow.
What they forget is it's the 1% that give them the freedom and the means to have their bloody protests.
Jesus, don't talk to me about protests,
laughs the man at the rear. His English has a slight Low Countries ring to it. He is balding but sports a full and furry, mahogany-coloured beard to compensate.
I'm now under investigation,
he calls to the man up front.
From none other than the Royal Society for the Protection of Birds.
Well, that's nothing to do with me, Povson. I'm the Duke of Gloucester, not the president of the RSPB. What's the charge?
Poisoning the predatory birds in the forest?
It's your bloody forest, snarls the third man. Another balding man, tall and chunky with an extraordinarily large head. He has the jowly, ruddy face of a banker with 2 blue, penetrating, deadpan eyes that are oddly positioned too close to each other. He is out of breath. He is clearly not used to this level of sustained exercise.
Exactly, Stephen. I can't have falcons and the like killing all the valuable game birds. Can I? I can get £40 per bird.
What, are the farming subsidies not enough for you?
The Duke teases.
Alleged farming subsidies.
I thought First Minister Hammerin was easing off on the hunting bans. I attended last year's Warwickshire hunt without incident.
Foxes, maybe.
Bloody hippie, liberal, left-wing busybodies.
Bloody internet, more precisely. Used to be a lot easier to conceal one's affairs back in the day.
True.
But nowadays, with alternative media sites and viral videos, any degenerate journalist, any 12-year-old with a laptop computer can snoop into anyone's business, sign some online petition, pore over WikiLeaks. And then there's the bloody hackers. No one seems to really be doing anything to stop it. It's simply bad for business.
I hear you were forced to waive another bonus.
Well, it's hard being under so much public scrutiny. The preconceptions that come with being a civil servant. And I couldn't very well live up to their expectations, could I? At least not openly. What do I get for my trouble? I lose a neat million.
Damned if you do and damned if you don't, huh?
Well, it's just a thorn in our sides. An unwelcome and unnecessary thorn nonetheless. Let's just see what our friends in the RIIA, Downing Street and across the pond can do with these censorship bills. And a reliable source tells me that tackling certain social media sites and hacking groups are definitely on the CFR, Trilateral Commission and the Bilderberg agenda this year. It's only a matter of time.
Just up ahead, the Duke carrying the rifles breaks through the bracken, his boots finding gravel. He says, back to the other 2.
Here's the road.
It's about bloody time. They may be able to spring around the forest like the light of an air, but this bastard's heavy.
They all chuckle and make their way down the dilapidated single-lane road to Povson's Land Rover.
It's been a splendid hunt, though, I must say. Truly thrilling.
The Duke says. He gazes at the dead deer as it bobs and swings lifelessly, its tongue hanging from its loose jaw, flapping with each step.
And his magnificent head will make a fine addition to my study.
What with all the others? Must be getting a bit crowded in there now.
The Duke chortles.
Yes, I suppose it is. But I'll squeeze him in somewhere.
Well, I wish I had the luxury of just taking trophies home. But I'll have to sell the meat. Unlike you, Your Highness. Some of us have to earn a living.
Careful.
The Duke laughs, but thumbs his nose and winks at Povson.
Listen, nobody's asking the public to pay our wages. I mean, pay their taxes.
And here is me thinking they're the same thing.
They laugh together, but their laughter soon fades when they arrive at the vehicle and drop their prey with a wet thud, in shock.
What the hell?
Povson exclaims. The vehicle is badly vandalised. The tyres are slashed, the windows are smashed, the panels and roof are caved in. The hood is open and the engine parts have been destroyed, presumably with a sledgehammer. Needless to say, a write-off. Povson runs to his jeep and looks in at the broken engine.
Oh, that's just great! That's just fucking wonderful!
Well, who the hell?
They all spin around, desperately searching the forest to see if the vandals are still around.
Stephen? Got the police here? No.
The Duke says quietly, nervously scanning through the trees.
Oh, Jesus.
Whispers Stephen as he hurriedly reaches into his coat. He finds his mobile phone and pulls it out of his pocket.
Oh, fuck it all to hell! No signal. We're miles from anywhere.
Well, try it anyway.
Stephen dials 999. Nothing. He tries a few other numbers in vain.
Fuck, cunting bugger, blast it!
He utters, fumbling with his phone.
Bloody Branson! I'll squeeze his fucking throat closed.
Stephen! Just calm down.
Povson turns to the Duke.
We have to leave right now.
The colour drains from the Duke's face and he drops the guns. They clatter onto the road.
This is those animal rights people.
Povson says in a hushed voice.
They've already sent me threats.
Who? The RSPB?
Oh, I hardly think the RSPB are going to send threats or trash the Jeep, Stephen. Jesus. No, a different group. Ape or Ace, something like that. They obviously mean business. Jesus, Povson. What the hell have you gotten us into?
The Duke asks, wiping sweat from his upper lip.
This is bad. Really bad. We have to walk back. Follow the road. But we have to go now. Bring the guns.
Well, how the hell did they find us?
As the Duke begins to bend down to pick up the weapons, there is a loud crack of gunfire. Stephen screams and falls to the floor, clutching his thigh.
Jesus!
Yells Povson. He grabs the Duke, who is standing there feckless in shock, and drags him to cover behind the Jeep. They duck down at the rear wheel arch. Stephen is crying out in agony, holding his bloodied leg.
They shot Stephen. They shot him. Christ! We're all going to die.
Oh, God! Help! Help me! Povson!
Povson slowly peers around the Jeep. He can see Stephen reaching out a hand towards him.
Please! Don't leave me!
Stephen screams, his voice a couple of octaves higher than normal, much like a frightened child. Another gunshot. Stephen's face erupts in a black and red explosion. Povson, wide-eyed, mouth agape, looks down at Stephen's gaping head. Blood and pink mush pour from the hole that used to be his face.
Oh God. Oh God. Oh God.
Povson says, as he stumbles backwards in a panic.
Run! Povson? Just run!
They bolt into the forest, followed by another gunshot which ricochets off a few pine trees. For men in their later years, they find they have the speed and agility of the deer that they had killed just an hour ago. But the Duke lacks stamina. Blood pumps into his cloudy head, and he clutches his tightening chest.
I can't go on.
He gasps as they run. The Duke tumbles and crashes down onto the forest floor. Povson looks back over his shoulder and skids to a stop.
Povson!
The Duke calls out. Povson follows the sound of the Duke's voice and finds him a few feet away in the undergrowth.
Help me.
the Duke says, gasping for air.
I can't go on. I can't breathe.
Povson quickly scans the forest and then turns back to the Duke. He makes the decision to leave him. He takes a couple of steps backwards, looking into the Duke's desperate, confused eyes.
I'm so sorry.
Another gunshot. Povson's shoulder bursts open, spraying hot blood across the Duke's aghast face. The force of the impact spins Povson, hurtling him to the ground and out of sight. The Duke, terrified, suddenly finds his second wind and clambers to his feet. He aimlessly takes off deeper into the forest. Povson clasps the mess that used to be his shoulder, trying to stifle his groans. The pain immense. He drags himself along the forest floor. He edges towards unconsciousness.
I'll live.
He tells himself.
I can survive a shot to the shoulder. I'll live.
As pain overwhelms him, he hisses. Spit runs down his chin. His vision blurs and fades to grey. He almost welcomes passing out, but he shakes his head, trying to dispel the fog.
I'll live.
He tells himself again. But he then hears footsteps, slowly drawing closer. His heart sinks.
Still alive?
A man says in a gruff voice.
I suppose I'd better finish you off. It's the humane thing to do.
No!
Cries Povson. He slowly flips himself onto his back. He grasps his shoulder in pain and his vision fluctuates. He looks up, straining his eyes, to see a hazy figure raising the nozzle of a high-powered rifle towards his face.
No, please,
Povson pleads, shaking his head, trying to clear his vision.
please, don't kill me. Please, you can't do this. I have money. I can give you money. I own this forest. I can die in my own forest. This is my forest.
There is a pause. Ravens call melodramatically in the distance.
You don't own this forest. You can't. But you can become this forest. When I kill you, and I will. Should I leave your body here, the animals, the insects will move in. Eventually, the forest will take your body and replenish itself. And what better way to repay the forest for the crimes you've committed against it? Now, I've got a legal and moral right to make the humane kill. So I'm gonna let you choose the method.
Povson just stares in shock and says nothing.
You've got 3 choices. 1, a shot to the brain, quick and easy. 2, the neck break, a little bit trickier but still effective. Or 3, my favorite, clubbing the head. 1 good blow should kill the brain.
Povson remains silent, petrified.
Well, come on. According to the literature on your hunting events website titled The Best Methods for a Fast and Humane Dispatch, these are all legitimate ways to kill. So, Anders H. Povson, Laird of Gaywick, what's it gonna be?
Elsewhere in the forest, the Duke gawkily heaves his exhausted body further. His lungs burn and his muscles ache. His heart feels like it might pop any moment, and it very nearly does when he hears a gunshot in the distance behind him. He looks over his shoulder.
Povson. No.
The Duke doesn't notice the ground before him steeply dropping away. His stepping foot finds air, and he topples forward, falling down into a lowered clearing. He lands awkwardly on his leg with a snap and a sharp jolt of excruciating pain. He screams, hitting the ground like a flailing stag. Air rushes out of him, winding him. He rolls back and forth, clutching his flapping, broken leg, gasping for a breath. A wave of cold calm washes through his body and mind as his brain is flooded with numbing chemicals. He thinks he is dying. Slowly, his lungs begin to accept air back into them, and he breathes a little easier. But the pain returns. He's never experienced such pain before. A life of privilege and luxury has ultimately made him weak. He's never fought for anything in his life before, but he knows he has to fight now, fight to save his skin. He summons strength and begins to drag himself on his belly to the middle of the clearing.
He can see a heavy growth of ferns on the far side, ahead of him. If only he can reach it and hide and rest. His broken leg snags on foliage, yanking and twisting it. Another wave of pain makes him cry out again, but then he hears a heavy thud behind him. He knows it is his assailant, jumping down into the clearing. He looks ahead at the undergrowth, his hiding spot. He thinks he can still reach it and drags himself further.
Ah, Your Royal Highness!
Bellows a man's voice from behind him.
Lovely day for a hunt!
It is too late. The Duke flops down, face on the ground, with a defeated groan.
Or do you prefer Prince Richard?
The voice asks, now closer.
Or is it just Dick?
The Duke realises he is going to die and begins to sob. For all his wealth, his title, his perceived sense of glory, he knows he's going to die, alone in this forest, and no one and nothing can save him.
Please, I don't want to die.
Oh, come now, Dickie. We all have to die. Even royalty. And I didn't see you shed any tears for that dead deer back there.
Is that what this is about? One dead deer.
That's reason enough.
Please, don't kill me. It was old Hobson's idea, the hunt.
The Duke says, beginning to look around at his assailant.
Don't turn around.
The Duke quickly looks ahead and resumes his sobbing.
No, Dickie. It's not just about this hunt, or the many previous hunts. Your death is a message to your people.
A message?
You're all accountable for the slaughter, the abject terror and cruelty. And when you kill them, you kill me. When you torture them, you torture me. And we won't be tortured anymore. I can only take much too much before I strike back.
I don't understand.
The Duke cries.
You see, Prince Dick, no one is untouchable. You can all be gotten to, anytime and any place. You and your cronies won't even see us coming. We've been watching you, watching for so long, while you raped, pillaged, and destroyed. Centuries of imperialistic brutality, privilege, and internal decadence. People like you think land can be claimed, bought and sold, and innocent life can be hunted, killed, and priced. Well, no more. Not on my watch, bitch. You and your kind call yourselves chosen, sacred mediators to God? Where is your God? Your Christ? Your Saint John? Will you make your blood sacrifices?
God, forgive me.
Where is your God, as I make mine?
The Duke hears the rifle being reloaded and continues to cry. He knows it is time. There is no way out. He is going to be murdered, and he knows his God has deserted him.
Or more to the point, the Duke had given up on his god a long time ago.
Quietly sobbing, he carefully begins to pick himself up. He cries out in pain, but slowly gets himself upright and onto one leg, the other useless and hanging limp. He finds some balance and composure. He stands straight, corrects his side parting, arches his back, raises his chin and holds his head high, and begins to sing loudly.
God save our precious Queen.
It is either the pain, his dire situation, or he clearly just doesn't know the words. He even sings the brass section.
This so for us, God save the...
Gunshot. He is executed. A startled flock of game birds tear upwards, through the light mist and lush green canopy, into the celestial late morning sky.